All right, so you've been trying to figure out this whole SEO thing, right? Trying to get your website to move up on those search engine rankings. I mean, we've all been there. We took a deep dive into those articles you sent over. And honestly, SEO is way more interesting than people give it credit for. It's not just about algorithms and code. It's kind of about psychology when you get down to it.
It really is. It's about understanding what makes people tick. Like, what are they searching for? Why are they searching for it? And then how you can make sure to give them those answers that they need in a way that's super clear, engaging, easy to find.
So it's about understanding user intent. I see. The first article really dives right into keywords, calling them the foundation of SEO.
Yeah.
But it can't just be about finding the most popular words, can it?
Yeah, no, not really. Think of it this way. You wouldn't walk into a room full of people and just yell food at the top of your lungs if you're hungry. You'd be a little more specific, right?
Okay, yeah, I see what you're saying.
It's the same with keywords. So instead of just going for these super broad terms like shoes, think about what the user actually wants. Are they looking for running shoes, dress shoes,
Uh,
shoes for a wedding? Using tools like Google Keyword Planner can really help you figure out these more niche keywords.
so, okay, you've figured out what people are searching for. How do you make sure your website actually shows up?
That is where high quality content comes in. And I know what you're thinking, right? Content is king. We've all heard it a million times. But it's more than just like trying to hit a certain word count now.
Yeah, the article mentioned long-form content. What does that even mean?
It means you've got to give people the answers they want, and you got to do it in depth and make sure it's super comprehensive.
Yeah.
Think about it. Would you rather read a blog post that's like a paragraph long or an article that really goes deep and answers all your questions?
I take a good deep dive any day. But visuals matter too, don't they? I mean, the article mentioned images, videos, even infographics. It's not the 90s anymore. You can't just have a wall of text.
You're totally right. People are visual, and if you can break up your text with some good visuals, it makes all the difference. Plus, it gives those search engines more to work with. They can actually use images and videos to understand what your content is about.
And speaking of understanding content, one thing that really stood out to me was how important mobile optimization is. The article basically said that Google really prioritizes the mobile version of websites.
It makes sense if you think about it. Have you ever tried reading one of those huge newspapers on your phone?
Not unless I want a massive headache.
Exactly. That's why page speed is so important. No one wants to sit around and wait for a website to load, especially not on their phones. There are some really cool tools out there, like Google's Page Speed Insights, that can help you analyze how your website's performing and what you can do to speed things up.
But it's more than just cramming your website onto a smaller screen, right? The article mentioned easy navigation, clear headings, readable fonts. All that stuff matters for mobile optimization too.
You're right, it all goes back to user experience or UX. Basically, you want to make sure your website is easy to use, looks good, and is actually enjoyable no matter what device someone's using.
So you want to make it as easy as possible for people to find what they're looking for. Should be welcoming, not like some kind of digital obstacle course.
Exactly. And if people are having a good time on your site, they're more likely to stick around, maybe click on a few more pages, even become a regular visitor. And that tells search engines that your website is actually valuable and relevant.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about what users see and experience.
Yeah.
But what about the technical side of SEO? The article mentioned secure websites, broken links, XML sitemaps. It seems kind of complicated.
It is the behind-the-scenes stuff, and yeah, it can be a little intimidating, but it's super important for building a strong SEO foundation.
Okay, I like that analogy. So
Yeah.
making sure your website is secure is like,
Like building your house on solid ground. You could have
Yeah.
the nicest house in the world, but if it's built on a shaky foundation, it's not going to last.
and having a secure website is part of that foundation.
Yeah.
The article mentioned SSL certificates. What are those and why are they so important?
Good catch. An SSL certificate is basically like a digital padlock for your website. It encrypts all the data that goes between your website and the person visiting it, which keeps sensitive information like passwords and credit card numbers safe.
Makes sense. So a secure website means people can trust you and so can search engines.
Yeah.
But what about broken links and XML sitemaps? What are those all about?
Well, a broken link is exactly what it sounds like. It's a link on your website that doesn't go to the right place anymore. Imagine clicking on a link for, say, an awesome recipe, and all you get is an error message.
That's the worst, right?
It's annoying for the user, and it can actually hurt your SEO.
And what about XML sitemaps?
An XML sitemap is basically a roadmap of your website. It helps search engines crawl around your site and understand your content more efficiently.
So it's like giving Google a backstage pass to your website.
Exactly. It helps search engines see how your site's structured and find all those important pages.
Okay, that makes sense. So we've got our secure website, our solid foundation, and our roadmap for those search engines. What's next?
Now we got to figure out how to get people to actually find your site, and that's where backlinks come in.
Yeah, the article talked about how backlinks are like votes of confidence from other websites. So the more backlinks you have, the more trustworthy your site looks to search engines.
Exactly. Backlinks are kind of like referrals coming from other reputable sources. Think about it this way. If you wanted to try a new restaurant, would you trust a random ad more or a recommendation from a friend?
Definitely a friend.
Of course, backlinks work the same way. When a good website links to your content, it's like they're saying, hey, this website's worth checking out to the search engines.
But the article also said not to try any shady tactics like buying links.
Yeah,
So it's not just about how many backlinks you have, it's about the quality, right?
100%. You want to earn those links naturally by creating great content, making genuine connections in your field, and just overall providing value.
So instead of trying to cheat the system, you just focus on making your content so good that other websites want to link to it naturally.
Exactly. You got it. It's all about building real relationships and giving your audience something valuable.
This is making me think about businesses that are mostly in a certain location. How does SEO work for them?
That's where local SEO comes into play. It's about making sure that your business pops up when people search for something in your area.
So if I'm looking for a coffee shop near me, local SEO is how I find it. What are some things businesses can do to improve their local SEO?
Yeah, for sure. If you're a local business, you want to show up in those local searches. One of the biggest things is your Google My Business profile. You got to claim it and make sure it's optimized.
I always see those when I'm looking for something nearby. What makes them so important for local SEO?
Think of it like your online storefront. It's usually the first thing people see when they search for a business like yours. You want to make sure your name, address, phone number, website, all that good stuff is accurate and consistent everywhere online.
So it's not enough to just have one. You got to keep it updated too.
What about online reviews? Those seem to be everywhere these days.
Oh, they're huge. It's like word of mouth, but online. You got to encourage those happy customers to leave reviews on Google, Yelp, TripAdvisor. You know, the drill.
Right. Those good reviews can really make a difference. Okay, so we've covered a ton of ground here. Keywords, content, the technical stuff, backlinks, local SEO. But how do you know if it's actually working? How do you know if your SEO strategy is doing anything?
Data, my friend. Data is where the magic happens. Tools like Google Analytics are amazing. They show you exactly how people are finding your website and what they're doing once they get there.
So you can see how many people are visiting, what pages they're looking at, how long they're sticking around.
Yep, you got it. You can see which keywords are bringing in the most traffic, what people are clicking on, even where they're coming from.
It's like having a whole team of little data analysts working for you 24/7.
I like that.
Oh.
And the best part is you can use all this data to make your SEO strategy even better. You can see what's working and what's not and adjust accordingly. So it's not something you just do once and forget about it. You have to keep tweaking and refining all the time. The article mentioned that SEO is always evolving. What does that mean exactly?
Well, those search engine algorithms are always changing. So something that worked a year ago might not work today. You got to stay on top of those changes if you want to stay ahead of the game.
How do you even do that? How do you keep up with the ever-changing world of SEO?
There's tons of resources out there. Industry blogs, podcasts, online forums. Connect with other people who do SEO for a living and just make sure you're learning about the latest updates and best practices.
So it's a constant process of learning, experimenting, figuring out what works. But when you get it right, it can really make a difference for your website.
Absolutely. You want your website to be the whole package, user-friendly and search engine-friendly.
So you're not just trying to please the algorithms, you're trying to create something that real people actually want to see and use.
Now you're getting it. At the end of the day, it's all about connecting with those people, giving them what they need, and making their experience online a good one.
This has got me thinking. With all this emphasis on SEO, is it changing how we write online?
That's a really good question. Are we writing for humans first or for search engines? Ideally, you do both, but finding that balance isn't always easy.
It's like we're trying to walk this tightrope between what the search engines want and what actual humans find engaging.
Right. And it makes you wonder if maybe all this focus on SEO has changed how we write, even if it's unintentional.
I'll be honest, I know I've been guilty of that whole keyword stuffing thing, like
Yeah,
trying to
yeah.
fit in as many keywords as possible, even if it makes the writing sound weird.
We've all been there, but it's a slippery slope. You might trick the algorithms for a little while, but at the end of the day, it's real people who are reading your content, and if it's not engaging, they're not going to stick around.
So how do you find that balance? How do you make sure your content is good for both search engines and humans?
I think it goes back to something we talked about earlier, knowing your audience. When you really understand who you're writing for and what they need, you can create content that naturally uses the right keywords without sounding like a robot wrote it.
So it's about choosing your words carefully, but not letting SEO take over the whole thing.
Yeah.
Like you said before, maybe the best SEO strategy is just creating amazing content that people actually want to read and share.
Exactly. Content's so good it speaks for itself.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into SEO,
Yeah.
what are some key things you hope our listeners take away from all of this?
Well, first off, SEO is a marathon, not a sprint. It's something you have to keep working at and learning about because it's always changing. And second, SEO is about more than just algorithms and technical stuff. It's about making a connection with your audience, giving them something valuable, and making sure they have a good experience on your website.
And maybe the most important thing is finding that balance between what the search engines want and what real people find engaging.
Absolutely. If you can do that, you're well on your way to SEO success.
This has been a fascinating conversation. Thank you so much for taking the time to share your expertise with me and with our listeners.
The pleasure was all mine. I'm always happy to talk about the wonderful world of SEO.